The following clip is from the North to South Show, live every Monday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we talk SEC football everything. Now, we'd love to have you out for next show, but for now, hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button, and enjoy this clip. Now, here's the guy that I'm really excited to talk about because, first of all, this whole situation with him has been a circus. It has been a nightmare because I remember all the way back in January when I started coming out with my early 2021 predictions for each and every SEC team. On my thumbnail for Florida was Arik Gilbert because the day before I filmed that video, Arik Gilbert announced he was transferring to Florida. So he went from LSU to Florida. And then later, I can't remember how long it was in between, but after that video was released or whatever, Arik Gilbert obviously transfers out of Florida. And it looks like he's going back to LSU. Like the last couple months or the last couple weeks especially, it looked like Arik Gilbert was going back to LSU. I even did a video of the impact of Arik Gilbert's return to LSU, and I'm pretty sure that was the first ever segment we ever did on this show. So that was interesting because now Arik Gilbert is all the way in Georgia, and honestly, I would not be surprised if he ended up as a Tennessee Volunteer or an Alabama Crimson Tide player at the end of the season. Obviously, I joke about that, but there's been tons of movement with Arik Gilbert, and for him to be landed in Georgia, obviously his hometown, he's from Marietta, Georgia, so he's going back to his home state, playing for the Bulldogs, in a season where the offense for Georgia is supposed to be very good this season. Now, you talk about Arik Gilbert, the most highly recruited tight end of all time in college football history, at least from my knowledge, at least from looking at 24/7 and everything like that. Arik Gilbert is legit. And I just encourage you, any high school highlights, of course, high school highlights isn't going to show you anything of how they're actually going to play in college, but even just turn on anything he did at LSU last season, because I know it wasn't a lot. He wasn't like their main target. He didn't have any 100+ receiving yard games or anything like that. But the plays that you do watch him get involved in, you know that this kid is something special. You know that this kid is kind of your next Kyle Pitts in terms of he's the tight end, yes, and usually tight ends don't play as big of an impact as, let's say, a wide receiver or running back do in an offense and everything like that. But Kyle Pitts changed that last season. And with Arik Gilbert going to Georgia now, I see Arik Gilbert as kind of playing the same role where you're going to have a guy who's not just your typical tight end. This guy is here to be a game changer. This guy's here to be the number one threat on your offense. So lots of interesting stuff to talk about Arik Gilbert and how he's going to help out with Georgia. First of all, with George Pickens going down for Georgia, they still got tons of great receivers, but getting another top-tier guy, a guy that's really going to make teams think, because lots of people think George Pickens was the number one wide receiver in all the SEC this season. I take Arik Gilbert over any tight end in the nation. Any tight end in the nation. If you say, Noah, for your college football team, let's say I just take over some random team. Give me a random team. Let's say I take over Boise State or something like that. And let's say we're doing, I know this isn't a college football thing, but let's say we're doing an expansion draft. Or let's say I create a completely new university. We'll call it Idaho A&M or something like that. And with me creating a new team at Idaho A&M, I get to go out and grab whatever tight end. Let's just say college football says, Noah, you could go grab whatever tight end you want from any team and they have to come play for your school. There is 110% chance that I am taking Arik Gilbert as my tight end at that role. First of all, the dude only just played his first freshman season last season. Now you do get an extra year of eligibility. Call it how it is. Technically, this is going to be like his sophomore season, but the kid's still young. You're going to get like 2-3 more years out of this kid before he obviously moves on to the NFL draft. Now, I think it's only going to be 2. I think that he probably will go to the NFL draft after his junior season, but honestly, Georgia fans, do they care? If you get 2 seasons with Arik Gilbert, if you get 1 season with Arik Gilbert and it's this season, this is the season to bring in an all-star tight end for your team in Georgia, because what we're going to talk about kind of later in this show is Georgia in win now mode, and how desperate is Georgia going to be to win a national championship or win the SEC or win a playoff game, make it to the national championship, all that fun stuff. But going back to talking about Arik Gilbert, man, like last season, we break down his stats, only 35 receptions, 368 yards, 2 TDs, and 10.5 average yards per catch. But again, I encourage you to turn on the highlights, because the stat line for last season, obviously we knew LSU had problems last season throughout their team. They weren't good as expected at all. You turn on the highlights for this kid and you see a completely different storyline than what you see in the stat line. Arik Gilbert, I think, will be the best tight end in all of college football last season, and he will be JT Daniels. I want to say he'll be his number one target. Now, yes, this kid's still young. Yes, I still think that you're going to have some more guys on the outside to hit for Georgia, but I definitely think that he is at least going to be a top 3 target for Georgia and JT Daniels last season. So the Arik Gilbert move to Georgia, again, just like I said with the Darian Kendrick thing, I think that this was a great move for him because he does move closer to home, moves closer to his family and everything like that. He's going to a program that is in a win now mode. This team is ready to win now. I'm not saying that LSU wasn't, but I do think that Georgia is in such a better position at this current moment in time than LSU is right now. So he's going to be contending for a national championship, closer to his family, and you're going to have a really, really good QB and a really, really good offense in total that you're going to be paired up with. And obviously, Georgia, I said it, you get the best tight end in the nation. So win-win for both guys, an amazing pickup for Georgia, and an amazing choice for Arik Gilbert.